Nation's #1 DJ, DJ Rockwell.
Yo, this is Apocalypse, the lyrical warner, hip-hop revelator. And you rockin' with the nation's #1 DJ, DJ Rockwell, you understand me?
Assalamu alaikum, family. Peace and blessings. Where's DJ Rockwell? Where he at? I don't see him. Welcome to tonight's podcast on the DJ Rockwell Show. Peace and blessings. So, today we are going to be having a special discussion, me and my sisters, pertaining to taking accountability. Something that I have not seen really happening on these social media waves, on these social media streets. Women taking accountability for our actions and how we deal with ourselves and how we deal with our partners. Because if we're being honest, if the woman is the standard, if she is whom no society can rise above, then that means that we have a lot of work to do. That means that we have to begin to work on ourselves in order to improve our communities, our nation, and first and foremost, our household. So, without any further ado, I would like to introduce my co-hostess, my sister Tamora.
Praise be to Allah. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Praying all is well. Happy to be on with you, Sister Mecca. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. Yeah.
Praise be to Allah. Thank you for coming, sis. And my Sister Devana.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm definitely happy to be here with Sister Mecca. Hecca.
Praise be to Allah. Well, thank you, sisters, for coming on. I'm so happy that you have joined us. So, let's talk about it. What does it mean for us to take accountability for ourselves and for our actions?
Wow, Mecca, that is a great question. So when we take accountability, that means that we have an opportunity to look at ourselves and make the changes that we need to make in our lives. We can't go around in this life thinking that we're going to get away with anything. So accountability to me is, taking a look at yourself and making the changes necessary for your life. We all are going to mess up. But if you take a look in the mirror and say, I need to change this, that's taking accountability for your actions.
Yes, ma'am. Praise be to Allah. What about you, Sister Vanna?
I think taking accountability is a matter of taking back the power. Accountability is power. Because when you are not accountable for your actions, it means you're blaming it on someone else, which then makes you the victim. But if you give your power away to somebody else and say, you fail to be able to make the changes you need to, as my sister Tamora was saying, you're not able to make those changes in your life because all of the blame is outwards. It's not within. And you need to be able to see yourself and reflect on self to be able to make the changes you need to in life. So accountability is power. Accountability is the ability to see yourself for who you are so that you can come up to that God that Master Muhammad came to, to make us. So in order to be able to reach that level, that pinnacle of success, you have to have accountability. You have to see where you go wrong.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, ma'am. We getting it to teaching early.
Yes.
We teaching early. Praise be to Allah. Before we go any further, please make sure, if you are not subscribed, please make sure that you subscribe to the DJ Rockwell Show. One of the best places that you could be Okay, today is a special day because it's we air it on Friday, but the DJ Rockwell show is usually on Saturday at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you new here, please make
Mhm.
sure that you do subscribe to the channel and make sure that you like, comment, share with your family, share with your friends,
Check.
share
Oh,
with your peoples. You know what I'm saying? Praise be to Allah. But yes, ma'am, those were some very beautiful uh, explanations of accountability. And when we are held accountable, it means that we are now taking responsibility.
mm-hmm.
We have not been taking responsibility for our actions and the way that we do things. We tend to always put it on the man. It's the man's fault. It's the man's fault. In which I have a clip of the minister where he kind of speaks on it not being the man's fault, or it's not always the man's fault. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that there's no such thing as a no good woman. She was made no good by a no good man. But that
Mm-hmm.
does not mean that the man that she is with is the man that made her no good. So sometimes you can have a man who is a good man, but because we have been made other than ourselves, we are now running this good man away because we're not taking accountability for our own actions. We're not taking accountability, even if something did happen to us. Like Sister Davana said, we are giving other people our power by not taking
Mm-hmm.
accountability for what we do.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that, I actually have a few questions that was sent to me, Brother Dave.
Mm-hmm.
Um, um, and one of the questions was, um, where does this lack of accountability originate?
Ooh, lack of accountability.
Mm.
Wow. You know, when you're a child and you do something and your parents ask you about it, and you're like, in order for you to not, you know, be in trouble, you're going to lie about it. So if we
Mm-hmm.
don't, if as parents, if we don't nip that in the butt when they're younger, then that's going to carry into their adulthood. So got to hold your children accountable early so it doesn't travel into your adulthood. You could be stuck in a situation to where, you know, you get hemmed up in the chest by somebody and because of your actions. And then when somebody hold you to the fire, then you're not holding yourself accountable and you want to run away from it. And then comes in the narcissism and other things that you do to hope to like run away from accountability. So nip it in the butt when you're younger is a way to not carry unaccountability into your adulthood.
Yes, ma'am. Starts as a child. Yes, ma'am. Sister Divana.
Hmm.
I also agree with my sis. I think it's the world too, though, right?
Hmm.
Because this psychology is a beautiful thing, but the
Hmm.
way that it is used to be deceptive is the problem. Because
Hmm.
people say, oh, your mother made you do it. Oh, their
Hmm.
sister
Mm-hmm.
made you do it. But a key thing that I've told my children since the moment they were young is when they tell me, oh, such and such made me do it, no one can make you do anything you don't want to do. It is a
Right.
choice. So if somebody makes you mad, it's your choice how you react. Just because I,
Hmm.
I yelled at you or I said something you don't like doesn't mean you're going to come in here and cuss me out as your mother. Doesn't mean you get to
Exactly.
put your hands on your sibling. It doesn't mean you get to go out here and steal because necessarily there's something you want that you can't afford.
Hmm.
Accountability for your actions. You cannot choose what people do to you, but you can choose how you behave, who you're going to be as a person. Just the same as I could say, oh, the my upbringing and the things that have happened to me made me this person. But again,
Hmm.
accountability gives me power. So I say, no matter what has happened to me, I choose to be this person. I choose to raise my children this way because I know it's right, or I know it's not. It's wrong. So
Hmm.
it does start with our children, but it's also in society where everything is an excuse, in the court system, everywhere. Something is always why
Hmm.
somebody is doing something rather than making them make the proper choice.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
And it goes back to what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said. You know, you can't keep blaming your mother and your father and people in your life for your lack of accountability. He said,
Right.
you have the power to raise up out of that. So we can't go through life blaming people. We got to blame ourselves. But how do we fix it? We hold our own selves to the fire to fix ourselves. So,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
And even, the Quran, it says, we can't blame the devil. We can only
right.
blame ourselves for following the devil. Because the devil
Hmm.
gonna do what the devil gonna do. But you know
Right.
between right and wrong. It is in our
Yes, ma'am.
nature to know between what is right and what is wrong. And so we can't continue to blame other people when we instinctively, Allah put it in us, we were made and created to think right, to know right and wrong. And I say peace to the family. Thank you for joining. Peace to the collective. I see you guys in the chat. All praises
The
to Allah. Peace, Brother
collective.
Hashim.
Hmm.
Praise be to Allah. I would say, along with it being the children or it beginning as a child, it's the child seeing the parents not doing it. Because a
Right.
lot of times there are a lot of arguments that should not be had in front of children. PSA, we should not be
Mm-hmm.
arguing in front of our children. Our children should not see us going
Hmm.
back and forth. Okay. But a lot of times our children do see it, but
Hmm.
they see a lot of deflecting, a lot of not being held accountable. And you can tell now because of the type of society that we live in. Nobody is held
Hmm.
accountable, not just women. Nobody is held accountable. Everybody has
Right.
such thin skin, and nobody is able to recognize their error in the way that they're wrong in situations. And
Yes, ma'am.
so we, as women, being the first teachers, have to instill it. It starts
Hmm.
with the truth, accepting the truth. That's the only way you're able to be held accountable, and to hold yourself accountable is to be truthful with yourself.
Right.
We have to be truthful with ourselves. And so I agree that it definitely begins, um, obviously as a child, you
Hmm.
know, but where? Like, where? Like, I think Sister Devana kind of hit on it, but like this outside forces, is it only inside the house, or do you think that there are also outside forces that cause us to not take accountability?
I think it's outside and I think it's inside. One thing I think was beautiful with what you said is the parents taking accountability. How often do you hurt your children or say something that's wrong to them?
Woo.
How often do you accuse your child of stealing
Mm,
something that they
mm,
didn't
mm, mm,
steal or
Hmm.
dirtying something that they didn't dirty? But in our
mm.
culture, we don't know how to apologize to our children. We don't know how to be
Hmm.
humble and be as
Say
if they're
that.
not human
Hmm.
beings. So I think it starts
Mm.
there because then when children get older, they think they can do that same thing to their child. If mama made a mistake,
Hmm.
I tell my children, mama don't know everything. You ask me a question, you know how to use Google. Go
Yes,
look it
ma'am.
up
Hmm.
because I don't know everything. I'm not
Right.
all knowing. I'm not Allah and I mess
Praise
up
be
and
to
I make
Allah.
Hmm.
mistakes. Oh, you didn't steal that?
Hmm.
I apologize. Mama shouldn't jump to conclusions. That accountability, that starts in the house with
Right.
ourselves, being an
Mm,
example,
mm, mm,
not
mm.
do what I say and don't do what I do. No,
Woo. Come
let me
on.
be the example to you. Let me be the Muslim, the clean glass against the dirty glass, and teach you the right way. But then also society, because it's nature versus nurture. It's our nature. The
Mm.
minister says that by nature, we're Muslims, but our environment goes
Hmm.
against that. It's our outside forces and our inside forces since the day that we're born. Television, what we read, who's our teachers, where we put in our children for school. All
Hmm.
of that
Yes, ma'am.
directly affects us. It's not a one all be all because we are attacked at every point in our life through what we eat, through what we watch, through what we read, through
Hmm.
what we think. When you fast, it's not just fasting that heals you. It's what you're thinking, what you're reading, everything. So it's all of that that is affecting
Hmm.
the accountability thing with us, I believe.
Yes, ma'am.
So my sis just spoke some powerful words, but I would add to that. Our children definitely look at us as parents and what we do because we are the first teachers. But also we have to get away from saying, when we tell our children to do something and they say, "Why should I do that?" It's like, because I told you so,
Mm-hmm.
right? We have to give our children the explanation on why I
Yes,
told you
ma'am.
to do this particular thing. So if we
Praise
sit
be to
down
Allah.
and teach our children that will allow them to grow up and give their children that same explanation. So she wrapped it up perfectly. If they see us doing certain things that is of good nature, then they are going to do it. But if they see us doing things that are of bad nature, then they're going to do it. So let's be found being the best examples for our children.
Yes, ma'am. Praise be to Allah. And that is so true, is giving the explanation as to why
Hmm.
we should or should not do or say things, because for some reason it's like we tend to think that our children already know.
Right.
But the point of education is to bring out what is already within, but it hasn't been made manifest yet.
Hmm.
And so our children have to be given an explanation, because it's just like we have to be given an explanation when
Hmm.
when something don't go right. Why, God? Why, Allah?
Right.
Why is this happening to me? Why
Right.
did you let X, Y, and Z happen? And if we can question Allah, why can our children not
What a
question
question.
us? Um,
Yes.
and so, um, another question that was asked is, and if there are any questions that you have inside of the chat, inside of whether you're watching on YouTube, whether you're watching on Facebook, wherever you are, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to drop them in. Don't forget, this is the takeover. Okay, you are
Hmm.
watching the takeover. We are taking over the DJ Walkreal show today. Okay. And again, do
Yeah.
not forget to subscribe if you have not subscribed already, because there's so much great information that comes from this platform. But one of the questions is it always between male and female, or do women point out, hold each other accountable?
Ooh, great question.
I would say no.
Um, I would say sometimes. I would say sometimes. Though we may not like it. So
Hmm.
um, sometimes we hold each other accountable, but we have to watch the way we do it, because we can't act like we arrived. Like, I
Right.
don't never do that, and you shouldn't do it either. But yes, women should hold each other accountable. We can't allow our sisters to go out here and have this mentality of they can do this X, Y, and Z without being held accountable. That affects ourselves, that affects our families, that affects our community if we do things outside the box. So it is incumbent upon us as females to hold our sisters accountable, because we don't want them out there running rampant. You see what
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
saying? So
Yes, ma'am.
we have to check them in a way to say, like the minister does. Look, the minister is the best example of
Yes.
accountability. He will rough us up, but he'll come back in a loving way and say, now you so do this. I only do this because I love you. And we should have that
Right.
same mentality when we're checking our sisters. I only do
Yes,
this
ma'am.
because I don't want you out there bumping your head constantly. That goes along with our trials. If we are constantly in trials, that means Allah is giving us this trial because we haven't passed it. So this trial is going to keep repeating itself if you don't pass it. Same with our
Right.
sisters.
Exactly.
Same with our sisters. It's like we hold you accountable because we don't want you to bump your head, right? It's so many sisters out there, and I love y'all, and I really do. But you got to stop running from accountability, because it's like oh Allah, we go through friendships like water.
Mm.
We go through friendships like water. Like, okay, well, she's holding me accountable. I'm gonna run over here to this next friendship group, and I'm gonna go over here to this other toxic area, and I'm just gonna stay there, and I'm not gonna hold myself accountable. No, it's gonna come to a point where your path is gonna run out, and you're gonna have to face yourself. So us as sisters, we have to hold ourselves accountable, but don't do it in a way to where you're high and mighty and you have never done anything in your life. Do it in a way to where it's being heard and it's done in a loving way. So yes,
Yes, ma'am.
I believe as sisters we can hold each other accountable, but we have to do it in a loving way. Don't do it in a way to where you're judgmental and say, I've never done this. We've all done something that we have to hold ourselves accountable for. So yes,
Yes, ma'am.
sisters should hold themselves accountable.
I agree with you, that it is sometimes, but I also believe that it depends on the type of woman,
Mm,
because majority of women, like 85%, usually don't hold each other accountable.
hmm.
And again, all you have to do is look at a society, and you can see that we do not, or yes, that we do not hold each other accountable. We have to become like a brick wall, because again, if we are the standard and there are air pockets inside of our ranks, then it don't matter. Everything is going to sink. And so, especially when it comes to this whole, y'all excuse my language, but whole culture.
Ooh,
I didn't come up with it. I didn't come up
come
with the
on.
terminology.
No,
Okay,
come on.
I didn't come up with it. But being promiscuous is now something to brag about. Is now something that seems to be okay. But we're not being held accountable for it. Who told you that it was okay to sleep with somebody else's husband?
Right.
Who and why is this not being held accountable? And at what point, after a woman is not holding herself accountable, after it's already been made manifest to her, at what point does she get reprimanded, or what can be done if she refuses to change her ways? What can we do as women to hold women accountable who won't hold themselves accountable? Because that's also an issue. I know, Sister Vanna, that's a whole nother question. I know you didn't get to answer the question, so if you want to answer that question and this question,
It ties in with the
but
two. Come on.
Well, I think a lot of times is that, I've had to change. I was never a person to sugarcoat, right? Everybody come to me, I got to give it to you straight, because that's the way that I am with myself. And I think the first thing is that we have to stop running from holding ourselves accountable, because once you hold yourselves accountable, you're able to hold other people accountable. But if you have this mindset where, oh, well, I wouldn't even tell myself that, so let me not tell them that, then you have an issue. We don't hold each other accountable, especially with this, excuse me, hot girl summer and all of this
Come on,
stuff.
girl.
Oh, girl, get out there and get it, girl. I see you. But you don't want that type of friend, because she don't want no good for you. She wants you in the
Right.
same misery that she in. And
Mm-hmm.
we're not holding each other accountable because we all want to do the same thing. See, and if I'm holding myself accountable, then that means that if I hold you accountable, I got to hold myself accountable. Now I got to look at
Come on.
myself in the
that's
mirror.
right.
And that's
That's right.
uncomfortable. I
Yes, it
don't want to
is.
talk about what I'm out here doing.
Come
Accountability is
on,
important.
sis.
We see our friend out here sleeping with 3 different men. She got 3 different baby daddies. Oh, girl, they don't
Woo.
appreciate you. No, tell your sister to stop sleeping with so many men so she don't have so many
Man.
babies out here.
Come on, sis.
Come
Tell
on,
your
Where the
Savannah.
sister
clap?
that,
Where the
Come on.
clap
maybe,
sound at?
sis, you
Where the
need to
clap
hold
sound
back
at?
a little bit. Maybe you need to hold back a little bit and go on a sabbatical to China, wherever you want to go, and get yourself together so that you can attract a like-minded man. But if your mind is not in the right place, you're not going to attract a man with that same mind.
Right.
Accountability
Come
is
on.
what's going to change our children from being molested and raped
Right.
and killed,
Yes. Yes.
because these
Ooh.
women are sleeping with men that don't care about themselves, her or her child,
Mm.
and so
Right.
he would kill them in a drop or
Mm-hmm.
sexually abuse them. So no, we're not holding each other accountable, because if we were, our children wouldn't be in the state that they currently are.
Come on
Sister
now.
And so the
Divana,
first thing, we got to take accountability for self and then our sister.
I'm sorry. You said something that sparked a thought.
Mm-hmm.
Our children being molested, like the minister said, there is. I think this was like he said it multiple times, but the time I remember because I started bawling when he said it. I think it was Savior's Day 2017, where he said, "You." I hate not saying it verbatim, but basically, you won't find as many women that have not been tampered with. Like,
Yeah.
majority of women have been tampered with by their fathers, their grandfathers, their uncles. So do you think, Sister Tamora, you can answer this question too,
Okay.
because you do have women who their children will come to them and say, I have been touched by your boyfriend. I have been touched by your brother, your uncle, whatever the case may be, or the R word, because I know you're not supposed to say that online. Um, do you think that as much as it happens, that it's partially women should take accountability for that because of our neglect of the issue? Like, we know it happens, but it's like we're not trying to stop it, or we still don't believe our children when they say it, or we're not being proactive about it. We might be reactive after it already occurred, but can you say that we're lightweight responsible for the fact that this happens and continues to happen at the capacity that it is happening.
Yes, ma'am. I mean, you can't
Mm-hmm.
take accountability out of that. Yes, the
Mm-hmm.
person that did it is wrong, but
Mm-hmm.
my responsibility as a woman, as an MGT, is to protect my children.
Right.
And a lot of us ignore the feelings that we have about these men. You know, my mama used to say back in the day they had that any man is better than no man syndrome, that thought
Mm-hmm.
process. Even they know this man is no good, this man is giving
Come
them
on.
bad vibes, they keep
Mm-hmm.
this man because they just want to have a man in their house.
Woo.
And there's a lot of our sisters who ignore those things. You know,
Mm-hmm.
ignore cousins or uncles. Oh, I got to do this, I got to do that, or I need to go out of town, so I'm going to leave this child
Mm-hmm.
here. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
us ignore that.
Come
When you
on.
have a child, before you guys have children, anybody has children, think about the accountability and the responsibility that comes with that child. You can't just get rid of
Mm-hmm.
a child because somebody, your friends, is going to Hawaii for hot girl summer.
Right.
You can't get rid of your
Mm-hmm.
children because you're tired and you want to go clubbing. That is
Right.
a 24/7 responsibility, and this
Mm-hmm.
world is lying to our sisters. Oh, you
Mm-hmm.
could still be this, you could still have this, you could still be all of this woman, but you get tired of being
Mm-hmm.
superwoman and having to take care of those children and still live that lifestyle. So
Right.
accountability in the fact that maybe we're not ready for children yet.
Hmm.
Maybe I'm
Mm-hmm.
not the person right now that I need to be to have that child. Maybe I don't feel like watching a child's
Right.
back or making sure they're in the right environment. Maybe I don't feel like doing that. That's okay. But work on self and understand that you're not there yet.
Yes,
You know,
ma'am.
and so I think it is our
Mm-hmm.
responsibility to sit here and say, "Oh, I want to be pregnant. I want to be cute. I want to take, I want to take pictures and I want to do all that." But you don't want to take care of the child.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
Be
ma'am.
accountable there, because this
Yes.
is not easy.
Yes, ma'am.
It's not.
Sister Tamora,
Yes.
before you answer, we have to go to break real quick. You know, we got patient bills.
Girl. Oh my God.
So hold your thought. Don't forget what you about to say, okay? Because I know it's about to be
Whoa.
explosive. But we're going to be right back. Let's go ahead and pay some bills.
What up with it, man? You already know what time it is. It's me, Young Conor Don. I'm up in this thing.
Peace. This is Aziz, the Kid Kareem, the Life Giving MC.
Peace, everyone. This is Brother Anthony K. Muhammad, also known as A-Tone, the hip-hop historian.
Peace, family. What's going on? It's Brother Jabril, Brother Mustafa, Lordship Productions in the building.
I am your sister, Arian Nicole. Peace, peace, peace. It's your sister, Sue Axel. You're watching the Rockwell Radio Show.
You are now tuned in live to the Rockwell Radio Show.
Right now, you're listening to Rockwell Radio Show.
Rockwell Radio. If you ain't listening, man, you wasting time. You on all these other stations, you need to tap in. Rockwell Radio.
You know what it is. Watch them, watch them, watch them.
I'm here with Brother Rockwell, the Rockwell Radio Show.
If you ain't in the game, you in the stand. Stop playing, man. Let's go.
Worldwide, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Download the Final Call Radio app and take us everywhere. On your phone, on your computer, on your tablet, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can also log on to finalcall.com and click the Listen Live button or finalcallradio.com. Final Call Radio, the official voice of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam.
Praise be to Allah, and welcome back to this takeover. Again, if you are not subscribed, why haven't you subscribed yet? Just do it. Yes, tag somebody and share it. Oh, praise is due to Allah. All right, Sister Tamora, I'm ready to hear what you got to say.
Oh man, this is a powerful topic in question. So I think, well, I know a lot of our sisters suffers from low self-esteem. And so that ties in with, not them believing their children, or they don't love themselves. They don't love themselves. So that's why when children to them and say, your boyfriend did X, Y, and Z, they're more prone to be like, no, I don't believe you, because they feel like Sister Divina said, they feel like they can't get anybody else as a boyfriend. So they totally dismiss their child. That's a lack of love of self. That's a lack of love of self. So if it was my case, oh no, absolutely not. I'll be in a orange jumpsuit, because this is why we have to find out who our children's friends are. Get acquainted
Right.
with their
Yes.
parents. Get
Yes.
acquainted with the whole family, because if you're not doing that, then that's going to spark a problem. Like, no, you cannot go spend a night over their house. Who are their parents? Who are their
Right.
uncles?
Right.
Who are you? Who are you? I don't know you. So unless we love ourselves and get to the point where we love ourselves, that's going to keep happening in the community. That's going to keep happening in the community. So we got to get to the point where we love ourselves, to the point where we say, you know what, I don't need you in my life if you're going to do this to my child. I'm saying it in a way to where,
Period.
this is radio, so I can't really say what I want to say. But sisters, we got to love ourselves. Because we can't allow our children's voice to be outshadowed by these men who are doing harm to our children. Allah will bless you with somebody. He'll bless you with a well-made man that's not going to do any harm to your children.
Yes, ma'am.
So you got to build yourself up, sisters. Depression is real. It's
Yes,
real.
ma'am.
Anxiety is real. We let's be real here. That's like a slavery trait. That's in our bloodline. So unless you love yourself and come up out of that depression, like I know you guys can, be grateful. It's going to keep happening. And we as sisters, as an MGT, oh man, we are the example for
Yes,
these
ma'am.
sisters. We are
Yes,
the
ma'am.
example.
Praise be to Allah. My sister's teaching. And that's what the teaching of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad does. It raises us to the pinnacle of success, to the pinnacle of the standard. And so, how do you recognize the signs of a woman who has not taken accountability for her life, for her actions, for the way that she treats herself or her people? How do you recognize those signs?
Damani, you gonna take this one? Because I saw both of our eyebrows raise up at the same time.
I
Wow.
mean, it's the same way, right? That they say,
Mm-hmm,
if we've accepted the teachings, really,
mm-hmm,
as we are supposed to, if we're living that life. I've met many people who, my grandma would say, a woman, you attract what you are, right? So if you continuously get the same type of man
Right.
over and over again, or you're in the same type of situation,
mm-hmm,
she told me that as a little girl. She said, it ain't nothing wrong with the man. It is something wrong with him, but it's something wrong with
It's
you.
you. That's right.
mm-hmm,
Because why do you keep attracting the same person? Why
mm-hmm,
can't you get beyond that? And so if you're spinning your wheels, and they say the doing the same thing but expecting a different change is the meaning of insanity. So if
right.
you're continuously doing the same things, to me, that means you lack accountability. That means you don't find
Mm-hmm,
anything wrong in the situation with yourself, because you're
right.
continuously getting the same thing. Like you said, we go through trials and tribulations because we haven't passed the test. Well,
Right.
we
Mm-hmm,
often ask Allah, why am I going through this the 50,000th time? Well, the
mm-hmm,
problem is you didn't pass the test.
Exactly.
right.
Exactly.
Right.
So accountability means, Allah, what are you trying to show me? That's not what
Mm-hmm,
accountability is. It's like, okay, Allah, it's not why am I going through this? Allah, what did I do wrong last time?
right.
What do
Yes.
you want me to see?
Mm-hmm,
Trial and tribulation, you got to have accountability in that too, because that's Allah trying to help you, because you're
Right.
absolutely.
failing to see something. So
Right.
accountability is turning to Allah and saying, what
Mm-hmm,
what did I do wrong this time? Can you
mm-hmm,
help
Yes,
me? Can
ma'am.
you guide me?
mm-hmm.
Accountability is not a punishment, just as discipline is not a punishment.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
right.
Accountability is Allah trying to assist you
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
to see
ma'am.
self.
Self
Yes,
improvement.
ma'am. Self-improvement, the basis of community development. Um, wow. So, signs of non-accountability in women. You know, when people are saying you're the problem, and people don't want to be around you, if people don't want to be in the same space, the same store, the same venue as you, then you're the problem. You're the problem. Nobody wants to be around gossip. Nobody wants to be around slander. Nobody wants to be around people who constantly make up things. Nobody wants to be around all that. And then the way that people run away from things, we're going to get deep into accountability. They run away from things. And people constantly tell you that you are the problem, but you want to flip it. And this is the signs of a narcissist too.
Exactly.
You want to flip it and say, did X, Y, and Z, and that's why I did what I did. No accountability. Nobody wants to be around that. Nobody wants to be around that. So signs of non-accountability is people running away, people blaming it on other people getting other people on the bandwagon to come after you when they have done stuff to people. So that's signs of non-accountability. And unless you fix it, you're going to keep running into that problem. Like I said, you're going to keep running into that problem. You're going to keep bumping your head, and you're going to find yourself in a space where you don't want to be.
Yes,
now you're blaming people for things that you did. Now people want to fight you. So so
say that.
You gotta say. So now people want to fight you. Now people want to put their hands on you. So we, like Sister Divine said, those trials come to correct us, and those trials come to draw us closer to Allah God. So don't run away from your trials, run to them and become better.
Yes, ma'am. Wow. Both of y'all took everything that I was going to say right out my head. Y'all verbatim just took everything I was going to say. Praise be to Allah. No, that's real, and I feel like it bleeds into other aspects of their life. And this is why it comes off as if though they're lazy, because they can never remain focused on something because they're not willing to see it through. They don't have the discipline to see something through, to finish something. And so it bleeds into other parts of their life. But partially to what Sister Tamora said, the way that we talk to people, right? And so I wanted to play a clip from the minister where he talks about the woman's mouth and how her tongue, how you can cut your man up to pieces, okay? But then you wonder why.
Come on.
you wonder why he in your mouth.
Right.
So if we can go ahead and play that clip real quick.
Ooh, this gonna be...
Then he reaches for something, either the stick or the gun, because he's got to show. First of all, when a man starts getting loud, showing his authority, that's not the time to challenge him. That's like the policeman on the corner saying, all right, get off the corner. And you're going to say to him, look, man, I'm a taxpayer. I should be on the Eurotel. Now he said, oh, yeah? Then he reaches for something, either the stick or the gun, because he's got to show his authority, because his authority got challenged. Your children are under your authority. So when you raise your voice at them, what child do you have that can raise their voice back at you and still have teeth? My mother would not allow me to do something like this. You suck your teeth, you'll be looking for them. And you better not stomp off and slam doors. She'll come right behind you with a broom or something. So you are in authority over your children, and your authority demands respect. The Bible says, listen, Christ, the head of man, man, the head of woman. Well, in order to be a head, you got to have a head. This presupposes that the male will have wisdom to rule his house. Even if he doesn't have the wisdom, he still feels what? He has authority. So when he speaks and you give him a heavy word back, he got to come back with one heavier. Then before you know it, the voices rise, decibel after decibel. Now he's being beaten in the argument because most of the time he can't win the argument. And now when you beat him in the argument, the only way he can win is to beat you with his fists. Who wins in that kind of situation? Nobody. So my wife was trained that when I acted the fool, don't act it with me.
Ooh.
Now he's about to
dive into this one.
He about to go into how Mother Khadijah helped him to not do that because she knew how to handle her mouth. Sisters, I understand. You want to say something too. You're not just going to sit here and yell at me, but we have to be wise in the way that we deal with our men. Period. It's like, if we already know how they are, why even bring fuel to the fire? Why even do that? Allow him to get his frustration off. But you trying to up him, like the minister said, women know how to use their tongue, and we know how to dig into a part of a man that nobody else could ever dig into. It could be something so simple like you have a fifth toe, you got a seventh toe with your third nostril, whatever the case may be. And that will hit him in a way that it won't hit nobody else. So we have to be careful with the way that we talk to him. And also, there's no reason why we should be bringing up things that were brought to us in confidence. We should not be using his downfalls, his shortcomings, his traumas to justify why X, Y, and Z is happening, to justify why I've heard people say that's why people don't like you because you did this, or it's not right. You can't say that you love somebody and you continuously bringing up their past. You can't say you love somebody and you continuously bringing up their faults. You're supposed to look past the fault and see their love because you're not perfect.
That's right.
And then we wonder why it's not right. I'm not saying that I don't condone abuse, okay, whatsoever. But we wonder why it happens so much because we don't know how to stop. Just stop and listen.
Yes, ma'am. Can I add to that?
Yes, ma'am.
So, the minister hit hard. Our men, they take so much on in this world. It's the weight of the world on their shoulders. They go out with the final call. They get spit at, cussed at, cigarettes thrown at them. They work in corporate America where they got to punch this clock for the white man day in and day out. They take on so much. See, this is why I love MGT class, because we're taught how to take care of our husbands. And so when it comes to situations like that, you want to be loving, you want to be caring, you want to have an atmosphere at home. You want to have an atmosphere at home to where it is peaceful. From when he walks through the door, he smiles, he sees you, you greet him with a... This is what I do with my husband, because I understand that he's out there taking on the world. I understand that he's taking on a responsibility to take care of home. And the least that I can do is make sure that black man is in a comfortable environment to where it's loving and where it's caring, to where he can come home and say, babe, I love the atmosphere. Babe, thank you for loving me. right? So when he comes home and we like, well, you didn't take out the trash and I didn't cook nothing because you did the X, Y, and Z and I didn't take care of these children all day. And what you mad at me for? See,
Come on, sis.
the assumption of thinking your husband is mad at you because you did something. That's the assumption. No, he's mad because he got to punch a clock every day. He's mad because he's getting spit on. He's mad because he's backed into the corner. This world is backing him into the corner. And the least we can do as women is make him feel comfortable when he gets home. So all praise is due to
Praise
Allah.
be to Allah.
That we have these teachings and we as women know how to handle our men.
Yes, ma'am. Come on, Sister T. Come on, Sister T. Teach.
Praise be to Allah.
Sister Divana?
I would say that I think we don't know that we're toxic in a sense. Like we talk about accountability. And I was thinking about this the other day. You know, I grew up in that environment of arguing and things like that. And so I had a preconceived notion of what I had to do in my marriage, right? Watching my grandma and all of them and different women in my family be abused, whether it be financially, spiritually, or whatever. I think I came into my marriage. I got married at 19 years old. Me and my husband will be married 17 years tomorrow by the grace of Allah.
Praise be to
Praise
Allah.
be to Allah. Come on
But
now,
at 19
Divine.
years old, I knew when I came in, ain't nobody beating me. You know, of course, in
Yes,
my
ma'am.
That's
mindset,
right.
you know,
That's
I was
right.
like, no, I didn't like whoopings as a kid, as a child, and I'm not getting whoopings in no marriage.
That's right.
We gonna have problems. But with that came a toxic thought process because I was fighting against something that had not even occurred. And when, like you said, Sister Samora, when you have that preconceived thought process, or you're in your head, oh, he don't appreciate me. I clean this house. I da 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 da. You're feeding a demon inside of yourself. And you haven't even communicated with your spouse that you feel this way. But when you're in your mind, everything seems sane.
Right.
So us as sisters do that. We build this animosity. Oh, he
Yes,
needs to
yes.
read my mind. You can't even read minds.
Right, come on.
You ain't
Come
got no
on,
radio
sis.
in the brain.
Come on.
You using your phone to call me.
Right, come on.
But I
Teach.
had to think about that as myself. I had a toxic personality in a sense because I was fighting against things that I feared. My fear was causing me to cause something. See, fear will cause you to get something you don't even want. Because you're working as if it's already there. So a lot of us have to realize where we have preconceived notions about our husbands, and we need to learn to control our mouth and communicate. And like the minister said, maybe when y'all arguing ain't the perfect time to tell him what he ain't doing or how he's not. Maybe pull him to the side, honey. I want to tell you something. You know, I want to talk to you. I don't want you to think it's coming from a wrong point, but this is how I feel. And I don't know if it's correct, but I just want to talk about it. That atonement process is so important.
Yes.
The
So
atonement
important. Come
process,
on,
so y'all
sis.
can come in and talk like y'all have some sense, bringing the Holy Quran in, whatever.
Yes.
If you are a Christian, bringing your Bible in and saying, look, you know, this is how we should do this. We need to talk about it. We need to write each other a letter. Whatever you have to do to get through that, but actually communicate. I've learned that communication and not thinking you know everything in your head as a woman about why a man is doing what he's doing and why he's not doing it, you ruin your own relationship that way.
That's right.
Yes, ma'am.
That's true. Yes, ma'am. And
Wow.
the book that I would suggest, Sister Mecca, is Real Love by student minister Ava Muhammad. May Allah be pleased with her, because in that book is some heavy jewels to help with our marriages and our relationships, and even during courtship. That is a book to be read during courtship.
Yes, ma'am. If you all are enjoying the takeover, like DJ Rockwell said, please hit that like and share button. And again, if you ain't subscribed, why not? Praise be to Allah. My sisters is teaching. That's a beautiful point. Sister Ava, she be teaching, man. Praise be to Allah. May Allah be pleased with her. Sister Divina, you said something about toxicity, and you know how the term toxic masculinity has, you know, been a mainstream topic and a hot topic, but what about toxic femininity? Do you think that that exists, Sister Tamara, Sister Devana? Do you think that toxic femininity is a thing? And if so, how would you explain that? Or what does that look like?
Ooh, okay. So toxic femininity, absolutely. Um, we can say all day that we are very feminine. We could say all day, oh, I carry the traits of femininity. But within that, there is toxic femininity. When you're feminine, you're refined, you're modest, you're poised. You go out in this world reflecting the God. But when it's toxic, you want to blame. It's like accountability. You want to blame everybody. Well, I want to do this. I want to do that. You're not allowing, toxic femininity is not allowing a man to do what he's supposed to do. You want to take on that role as a man. So, yeah, there is such thing as toxic femininity. And wow, we've had countless discussions on this, man. Man, but yeah, there is such thing as toxic femininity. And unless we properly teach these women about femininity, they're forever going to be toxic. So yes, there is such a thing as toxic femininity.
What about you, Sister Devana?
I think toxic femininity is women who want this idea of what the world is telling them. Oh, my man got to buy me a Prada. He got to
Right.
buy me a purse. I'm a feminine. I'm a princess and all of these things. But you married a man who worked at McDonald's. That's wrong. You knew that man worked at McDonald's when you married him.
Yeah. I got a clip. Hold on.
Expecting Prada.
Right.
I got a clip.
Kill himself and rob somebody so you can get materialistic things. That's toxic femininity. Oh, he need to pay my bills. You knew he was working at the Dollar Tree. How he supposed to pay your penthouse?
Come on, sis. Come on, sis. Come on, sis.
Be accountable. Be common sense. I knew I married my husband at 19 years old. I knew that this man was working at a little parking structure, but I came in knowing that because I was raised in the nation, I knew that I had to help my husband at that point, that we both had to work, but there was going to be a point to where he would be able to take over. But I didn't ask my man to buy me a purse and all of these things. We work towards that because that's what you have to do. You have to know where your husband is. But this world is telling women, oh, you deserve this. You doing this for him. He need to give you this. He need to do that. No, ma'am, that's not how it works.
Come on, sis. Come on, sis.
That's the problem we have now. Listening to the world.
Yes.
And I think the minister spoke about that. He said we can't be trying to break our men. You knew he came, like Sister Devana said, you knew he came with a certain amount of money. You can't be out here asking for furs and he can't afford that right now. You can't be out here asking for Bentleys and he can't afford that right now. And this is why patience is key. If you are patient with your man and if you're loving him and if you're pushing him, then he's going to be able to find the right income to provide you with them things. Right. But right now in this moment, if like Sister Devana said, if you know he's working at McDonald's, Burger King, Wednesday, not Wednesday, but Wendy's, then you know that he's not able to afford to find the things right now. But if you're patient with him, be patient, because most of us don't want to be patient. Well, I want this right now. And if you can't provide it, I'm about to leave and go find somebody else. Bye.
Right. Peace out.
Bye.
Right.
And then don't be coming back when he's, when Allah blesses him with this mansion and thing. That's what women want to do. I always loved you. No, you wasn't with him when he was at when he's at Wendy's. You wasn't with him when he was at McDonald's.
That's
you
right.
wasn't with him when he was at Burger King. So bye. Be patient with your man. Period.
Yes, ma'am. And as we're ending the end, we have about 5 minutes. I have the clip of the minister going into that. But to speak to what Sister Tamora just said, and I actually had a clip. We're not gonna be able to get to it. But building your man up. He may start out at McDonald's or Wendy's or, whatever the case may be. But if you love him correctly and you're patient, like Sister Tamora said, he is willing. If he loves you, he is willing to go to work. He is willing to do what he has to do in order to get you not only what you need, but get you what you want. But you have to be the scientist and learn how to work with him in order to get him there, because you make him into a man. The minister said that you don't even know if you are a man if you ain't got a woman. Right. So we make him into a man. The man also makes us into a woman, but we make him into a man. And the man of your dreams is not in the person that you marry. You have to mind them out of him, as Brother Nuri has said. But I want to get to this video of the minister actually talking about this exact point. So if we can play that.
Don't force the man to get into debt when you know debt is slavery, just so you could look good for a minute and suffer when you can't pay the bills. Who are you trying to please? Start small and grow large like everything else does. But if you want everything right away, you don't want to work for nothing. You don't want to sacrifice to build nothing. You will never have nothing, and you won't have a man, because a man can't be a man when he's saddled down up to his neck in debt with a dissatisfied woman who don't give a damn. She wants more and more and more. Let me tell you something, woman. We ought to take you and throttle you. I'm just telling you straight up. You don't want no man like me. You couldn't live with a man like me, because I would not take that damn foolishness from one of you. For 1 minute I'd drive you through the door. I don't like no woman to dominate no man. And I don't like no woman who even tries. Then you see another side of me. This is the way I was trained as a Muslim. You can see it coming out of me now, right?
Praise be to Allah. Teach, minister.
Come on.
All right. Well, family, this has been a beautiful discussion. I mean, we definitely part two. I'm just
We're going to do part two. We're going to come back to do part two. We're going to do part two.
Yes, ma'am. Praise be to Allah. So are there any closing thoughts, comments that you guys would like to share? You know, where can we find you guys at?
Yes, ma'am. Praise be to Allah. So I want to thank you, Mecca, for inviting us to this powerful topic. You can find me on Twitter at Modesty Queen 19, Instagram Modesty Queen 19, and also I am a part of the collective as well. So you can find me on all social media platforms. So yeah, that's how you can find me. And my podcast is called The Feminine Woman. So praise be to Allah. So thank you.
Yes, ma'am, Sister Vanna.
You can find me on Instagram at Mamadoula, MAMAADOULA, and Devonna X on Facebook. And my closing thing is accountability is freedom.
It is.
Accountability is going to get us to where we need to go. But if we want luxury, good homes, and friendships in all walks of life, we got to be accountable to self.
Yes, ma'am. So if y'all want a part two, I want to see the number 1 in the comments. If y'all want a part 2, I want to see them ones in the comments. Praise be to Allah. But my handle is Radder. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, all the social media platforms. And to Sister Devonna's point, accountability is freedom, but it's also justice and equality. It causes justice and it brings equality. Praise be to Allah. So it look like it's going to be a part 2. Praise be to Allah.
Praise be to Allah.
All right, sisters. Well, that's it. Praise be to Allah. Thank you guys for coming on.
Wow. Thank you
yes,
so
ma'am.
much.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
And thank you guys for tuning in to the DJ Rockwell Radio Show. And again, make sure that you do subscribe. Peace out.
Now, if you got past all of that, you might as well keep on rocking with us. So come on, everybody, let's go. Let's go. Radio show, y'all. The Rockwell Radio Show. Come on, Rockwell Radio Show. was a dope episode, man. Come on, man. Stop tripping.